My third predecessor Kaiser Friedrich Hohenzollern IV arrived in Gippsland after a trip of months from Germany in the first quarter of 1858 for a pre-arranged and booked holiday. He arrived weeks after the Arson riot had been perpetrated and found absolutely no buildings left standing where the former 1.2 million plus population city once was. He had booked hotels to stay in for his trip over a long time period, with written requests that took months to arrive and then months more to get a reply. The Arson riot had all happened whilst he was in transit to Gippsland from Germany for a holiday adventure. His only child Kaiser Wilhelm Hohenzollern II was born in Gippsland in Morwell, the 27th of January, 1859. He really had no choice but to proceed with the pregnancy due to a time limit on the officially authorized parenting agreement he entered into with future Lady Knight Victoria, Wilhelm II's mother. She is buried in Moe Memorial Cemetery here in Gippsland as well. Her grave is tiny. It was a case of proceed with the pregnancy or wait another 18 months. His choice to proceed was a sensible decision, given how safe it was at the time. Frederick IV retired to Gippsland for the rest of his life in 1890. After abdicating to his only child Wilhelm II and meeting new Prince Adolf Hitler the Hohenzollern when he arrived in Germany. New Prince Adolf was also born in what is now Gippsland in Moe in April 1889. The small hospital Kaiser Adolf Hitler the Hohenzollern was born in is still in Moe. Frederick IV died in Gippsland in 1916 and was buried in the Moe Memorial Cemetery. Kaiser Adolf Hitler the Hohenzollern moved to Gippsland in 1978 and spent the last 4 years of his life here a few kilometers away from my family home in the small town of Yarragon. He moved to Australia to be near me and lived off Hazeldean Road until I was 10. He was buried next to his uncle Kaiser Frederick IV after his death the 20th of April, 1982, as he prearranged himself. Because Österreich changed its name to the secretly perpetrators of crime preferring, stalking-themed Austria, Australia's name with 2 letters removed, they started pretending Kaiser Adolf was born there instead of what is now called Gippsland. Then started pretending mentioning my Hohenzollern royal family's connections to Gippsland via holidays and family members being born in Gippsland isn't allowed. Italians aren't allowed to steal anything that is referred to police, as if it is up to them to distribute it to whoever they want, because of the details of the Holy Grail being handed into the Vatican. They quote couldn't give the Holy Grail back to Jesus in 1569, she was already dead when it was handed into the Vatican police station. They labeled it and sent it for donation sorting without looking at it or touching it directly. They still pretend that is a tragic oversight and constant source of jealousy towards Gippslanders and donation sorters related to those from 1569. People related to the staff at the Vatican police station in 1569 on the day, and who moved it in a bag of donations and gifts for the Vatican to a sorting area, around 14 people, aren't allowed to steal anything they like that is referred to Italian police either. The people who sorted the donations and gifts it was with found it wrapped up with a note explaining what it was when they unpackaged it. I don't care who thought we could have pretended we found it ourselves if we had opened it and knew what it was afterwards. That we could have lied if we opened it thing. As an example of how deranged things get there. They refuse to pass on inheritances in Italy too. They wait until the legal time limit to give the beneficiaries the deceased person's estate has lapsed, refer it to Italian police and then pretend the estate is the Holy Grail 1569, label it as a donation or gift for the Pope, Vatican as if it has to go to the Vatican for sorting. Then pretend they should be able to give it away to whoever they want illegally, after looking at it and rushing off with it. They then pretend it is compensating themselves for their ancestors not unwrapping the actual Holy Grail and touching it, which deprived them of the opportunity to steal it and keep it, hold it for ransom, or claim to be responsible for the good deed of finding it and handing it in at the Vatican. They can't blame Gippsland for that. As an interesting piece of historical trivia, Michelangelo, one of my ancestral relatives, was from Gippsland. He painted depictions of Gippsland on the roof of the Sistine Chapel. The well-renowned self-portrait with the arms outstretched and finger bent is actually painted to look like the Bourbon Ranges north of the Latrobe Valley in Gippsland. He put where he was from on it. Not a reference to Jesus at all. Jesus was a woman with a beard, who was extra-organed, sometimes medically called transgendered. Some people put plain unadorned crosses up to remind people of Jesus' role in helping the sick and injured in the natural disaster mentioned beforehand, with one of her own belly worked on cup bowls used to get fresh water for the sick and injured. They also sometimes do it to remind people Jesus was a woman. Others stick depictions of Jesus' body tampered with after her death on display, sometimes pretending that was done to her alive, as an open, anti-trans gesture. Anti-transgendered, anti-transdresser etc. Some of them like to pretend being transgendered is why humans should become extinct, as if evidence of deformities in our species that mean it should become extinct, like robots. There is no debate about it, extra-organed is one of the natural spread details, like left-handed or pattern bald, which are all caused by parahydrogen in the universe. Not a spawn of the devil or Satan thing. Albino, big-statured, left-handed, rare blood type, vegetarian or vegan, short-statured, extra-organed, transgendered, pattern bald, somnambulist, sleepwalker, and big or double small genitals, individual parts in different combinations are all natural parts of the evolutionary spread, in set percentages at conception in each species, caused by parahydrogen. Around 1.5 million people in what is now Latrobe Valley, Gippsland were homeless after February 1858. Most ended up in the region now known as Dandenong, in a huge refugee-style camp, next to piles of skulls, hips, arm and leg bones, etc. of the arsonists responsible in some cases. A lot of those then decided to develop what is now the state capital of Victoria afterwards, starting with a man-made channel extension of the Wurundjeri River to the bay, now known as the Yarra River. That extension is a detailed tribute to the old city of Yarragon, some used to call it the River of Tears. Civilization here in what is now called Gippsland was mostly destroyed. People salvaged a large amount of items. It wasn't all gone, by any means. But all the housing was.